Dear Mr. Kingman, my name is Elizabeth Pringle and I am currently a student at the University of Mississippi. I was born and raised in Mississippi, growing up in Gulfport, and that is the reason I am writing to you today. Living on the Gulf Coast for the past 19 years, I have watched the casino industry grow and change over time. As you know, smoking is common in casinos, and the coast is heavily populated with casinos. As a frequent visitor of the coastal casinos, I write to you today to express my concern about the smoking epidemic in casinos. Although smoking is typical in casinos everywhere, the Gulf Coast casinos are a family attraction, and the amount of smoke casino patrons and workers are exposed to poses a serious threat to everyone's health. Growing up, I often visited casinos to eat at certain restaurants, see certain shows, and sometimes even stay overnight. The smoke in casinos has always been something that has stood out to me in a negative light, sometimes making me not even want to visit again for a while. Furthermore, people who work inside of casinos are exposed to an extremely unhealthy amount of smoke. According to Stanford University, it takes less than 2 hours of secondhand smoke exposure to impair the heart's ability to pump blood, which causes an acute risk of heart disease. It takes very little time for the smoky air in casinos to become a threat to workers' and patrons' health. As a large attraction of the Gulf Coast, this puts lots of families and workers at serious risk. Implicating a smoke-free policy in casinos along the Gulf Coast can produce beneficial effects financially on the economy on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Although enforcing non-smoking policies within casinos can be thought to cause a decrease in customers and overall revenue, other states who have adopted non-smoking policies within their casinos have experienced otherwise. For example, in Deadwood, South Dakota, there was a gross revenue increase by nearly 15% after gaming floors went smoke-free. By going smoke-free, more adults would be attracted to bringing their families to casinos. This would create an opportunity for an increase in revenue, which in turn would create more job opportunities. Non-smoking policies within casinos on the Gulf Coast have the potential to have a ripple effect of positive impacts in the local economy. Smoke-free policies in casinos on the Gulf Coast would positively impact the younger generations as well. I believe that casinos on the Mississippi Gulf Coast implicating smoke-free policies would greatly benefit the health of citizens and the economy as a whole. If the Mississippi Gulf Coast were to implement a non-smoking policy in their casinos, the overall health of the community would improve. There would also be other benefits, such as workers in casinos' patrons' health, increasing revenue, and influencing younger generations not to smoke. The Mississippi Gulf Coast is heavily populated with casinos, being it is one of the main attractions to the area. However, the smoke in casinos poses a serious threat to the citizens' and community's health. It takes only 2 short hours of smoke exposure for workers' and customers' health to be compromised. That alone should be enough to want to make a change in the smoking policies within casinos. However, there are other important factors to consider about smoking in casinos. If casinos were to implement a non-smoking policy, children and younger generations who visit casinos would be influenced to not smoke or to be around smoke. Non-smoking policies would produce higher revenue in casinos. More people would bring their families inside casinos if they knew they would not be exposed to second-hand smoke. This would also create a healthier environment for the Mississippi Gulf Coast as a whole. If revenue increased, then that would open up more jobs and benefit the economy on the coast. Overall, the Mississippi Gulf Coast should implement non-smoking policies in the casinos to benefit the health, economy, and future generations. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to my concerns. I believe that enforcing smoke-free policies in casinos will better the citizens and environment on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and I hope you would consider my proposal.